All right. Hello, 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 everyone. I hope you can all hear me. Welcome to World Quant Unit 1. I am going to be your instructor, or the person who tries to guide you through this course. I'm going to be doing the office hours for Unit 1. My name is Russ. I'll type this into the chat window here. Once again, my name is Russ. As I've joked with a large number of students in the past, that's the four-letter word that I prefer to be called, although I've been called many other things in the past. I'm joining you from Maryland, the state of Maryland in the United States. I'm near Washington, D.C. I'm happy to be here with you. There's, I guess, a lot of administrative things to talk about. Let me first bore you by telling you a small bit about myself, and we'll wait and see how many other people show up here before we get into the administrative things. My background is in mathematics. I'm a mathematician by training. I have a PhD in mathematics. I've been working for the data incubator for two and a half years now, teaching people Python and data science. I've done office hours for Unit 2 3 times now. This is the first time that I will be doing office hours for Unit 1. So bear with me if I'm slightly slow on answering some questions, as I'm slightly less familiar with the material, or the arrangement of the material, let's say, in this unit. I like to think I'm a decent Python programmer, but the organization of the material in all our notebooks here, maybe I don't quite have it down pat at the moment. Let's talk about some of the administrative things here. So in case you don't have the link, I'm putting it into the chat now. Right, this is the link where you can access your Jupyter pod. So it's wqu-ds.tditrain.com. If you haven't logged on there already, I would suggest you do so, or do so as soon as possible to try it out. Make sure you have access. When you log on to your Jupyter pod, you will see something kind of similar to what you see here. I have a few more links, say, than you guys will have. Like I have some admin links here. I have an admin. You won't have a logins kind of tab, but you will have these links for info and video links and video downloads and so forth. So let me point out a few important dates already. Well, today is the start date. This is the 12th of April today. We're going to have office hours, as you should know, 4 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 4 days a week for 8 weeks. The last office hour will be on the 3rd of June. You are going to have a series of what we call mini projects to do in this course. This is how you will demonstrate your work. You will need to work on these mini projects and pass them in the sense of having a score greater than 0 for every question in every mini project in order to get your Credly badge. So this is what we're saying here, right? In order to pass this course and receive a Credly badge, you have to get a score greater than 0 for every question in every mini project. There are 5 mini projects in this course. There are no individual deadlines for these mini projects. Basically, you just need to finish everything up by the 3rd of June in order to get your badge. If you want to get a Credly badge with honors, you have to get an average score of 0.9 or greater across every question in every mini project. There is no certificate besides the badge. This is what we give you, get a Credly badge. You are able to check your grades. If you're up here in this menu, you could check your grades by clicking on the Grades tab. And this, you'll see something similar right here, right? All of my grades are currently 0. So once again, to finish, to get your badge, you need to get everything done by the 18th of June. Right, so the last office hour is the 3rd of June. You effectively have about 2 weeks after that to finish all of the mini projects. Get everything done by the 18th of June. The badges will be distributed on the 25th of June this year. Some other important date to point out is about our deferral. If you, for some reason you decide you can't or don't want to work on this course right now, but you want to defer, and you have to make that decision by the 24th of April. And there's a link right here. You could click on this link to to go through that deferral process. If you defer, as it says here, you will not need to apply. Deferring will automatically enroll you in the next session. As a question, we can do all the assignments as quickly as possible. More or less, yes. There's some kind of restriction that you can't submit too many times, too quickly, or too many submissions within the same 24-hour period. But, you could work on the mini projects as you want to do so, when you want to do so, and so forth. Yep, if you want to spend your whole week completing all the assignments on lectures and submit everything, you can do that. More power to you. There is a discussion board, which some of you have found. Right, this is a discussion board where you can go and post questions, or possibly post answers as well to some people's questions. I tend to monitor this, a few times a day, and answer questions, when I can. So yes, if you have some question, say, that hasn't been addressed in the videos and elsewhere in office hours, well, you could post a question on the question and answer board here. Don helpfully posted an example question, right? Here's, if you were to read this example question down here at the bottom, which apparently didn't show up on my screen, but if I click on the example question in this forum, said this is an example of how to write a good question on the message board. Right? Give a little, give a descriptive title, summarize what you want to do, explain what you're trying to do, maybe give some example code. Right? Giving more information is probably better than less. Because it'll help me understand what it is that you're trying to do, and other people understand what it is you're trying to do, and hopefully I would be able to successfully answer your question then. Once again, the video in here, there's a bunch of tabs. If you click onto the video links, well, this is another way that you could find links to the videos. At the moment, we have the videos linked here for week 1. Right, week 1 by the first one right here in the title of the video. So these are all videos. These are the videos, right, that you should be watching this week for the material for this week. If you are unable to access the Jupyter Pod, I would suggest, where's my information? Apologies, one moment. Let me find this email address. If for some reason you can't access your Jupyter Pod, my best suggestion is to send an email to the email I just posted in the chat. dsmodule@wqu.org. But you have video links to the I have links to the videos, lecture videos. You have a link to the office hours, the live streaming office hours here. Note at the bottom here, you have a link to an office hours playlist. There's nothing on that playlist at the moment, well, because this is the first office hour. As the office hours are done, I will be adding links to the office hours to this playlist. So you can access the office hours live by following this link here. The times you see for office hours should be local to your own time zone. Right, this is 4 p.m., that's 4 p.m. my time, my local time. This time should be local to yourself. So we have one office hour going on right now that started at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We have another one that's going on tomorrow. This is at 8:30 a.m., but again, that's Eastern Daylight Time. As I said, these times should be local to your own time zone. If you were to look at this page yourself, obviously they would be different from these times themselves. Once again, the office hours playlist will have links to all of the office hours, as we go along through the course. if you click on the video downloads, you can also download the videos for the course. As the office hours are made, well, I will be uploading the office hours videos into this folder right here as well. But that'll probably happen once a week towards the end of the week. Now, I'm probably not going to be uploading office hours every day. It'll be, oh, all right, this week's office hours are done. I will, now upload copies of the office hours videos into this folder. As I make notebooks during office hours, well, I will upload those notebooks here into this folder called Office Hours Notebooks. And again, the grades right here will show you the grades on your mini projects. We keep the highest grade that you have achieved. So, if you get a grade of, 1, I think most all the grades here for this course will have a maximum of 1. You'll get a score between 0 and 1. As I said, we record the highest grade that you achieve, right? So you could try something out. Oh, and if you get a grade of 0.8, well, then of course you could try again, right? If you get a lower grade, well, we still record. We're going to show the highest grade that you have achieved here on each question. So don't be afraid to experiment, try something different. Try, oh, I have a solution, oh, but I want to try a different solution. So you can see the grades that you've achieved on each mini project question here by going to the grades panel. When you log on here, right, you might see a button that says, oh, my server or start my server. And when you start your server, it might take a bit to load up. But when you get to your server, this is what you're going to see. I'm not sure I understand your question, Sarfaraz. All office hours are the same thing. Well, mostly the office hours are going to be driven by your questions, right? Typically for office hours, I don't come in here with a particular agenda in mind. I'm looking for questions that you all have for me. Right. Usually what I'll do is I'll start office hours by more or less saying, oh, what do you guys want to talk about today? When we could talk about, oh, someone wants to talk about dictionaries today, or someone wants to talk about keyword arguments today. I will typically write down a little agenda right here. Oh, I have questions about this and questions about that, and questions about this. And I will be looking for your suggestions about things that you want to talk about during office hours. And yes, I will talk about the mini projects during office hours. So, Emmanuel, to answer your question specifically, I'll repeat once again. The only deadline that you really have to worry about is the 18th of June. That's the only deadline that we have in terms of getting your mini projects finished. And yes, grading is only based on the mini projects. The exercises are things that you can try out for yourself. Or again, we could talk about some exercises during office hours. So yes, office hours, as someone put it, is mainly about discussion and clearing your doubts about course material, including mini projects. So, right, so again, the only deadline is June the 18th. I mean, we certainly have suggestions, right, in the emails that you receive. You know, like the email that you received this week. Let me find that email. You should have received an email, I believe, already. It says, well, this week you should be working on the so-called IN mini project, which I will show you where that is in a moment. And you should be working on the IP mini project, and I will show you where that is in a moment. You know, but, right, if you're busy, if you can't get to these things this week, well, again, the only deadline you have to worry about is the 18th of June. I have too many windows open. Where's my... So, once again, all right, a few questions that have come in. Which questions have grades greater than 1? I don't believe there are actually any questions in Unit 1 which have a grade greater than 1. How are lectures already uploaded for Week 1 for particular mini projects? Are there a one-to-one relationship? Not really, no. The first mini project, well, so, all right. Let's go here first to, if I go in data course, and I go into the Python folder here, and if I click into the folder called mini projects, well, I see there's 3 mini projects in this folder. One's called IN, one's called IP, one's called VC. That's 3 of the 5 mini projects. If I go back to data course and I click in data wrangling and I click in mini projects, well, you're actually going to see IN again, but it's the exact same mini project. And I see DW and I see PW. Right, so the DW and PW are the additional 3, DW and PW are the additional 2 mini projects in addition to the other 3 of IN, IP, and VC. Once again, Mohammed, yes, as I mentioned already, we record the highest grade that you achieve on each question on the mini projects. So if you get a grade of 1, great. But if you want to, you could try things out. Oh, I want to try and answer this question in a different method. And if you get, a grade of 0.8, it doesn't matter because you've already achieved a grade of 1. IN is basically introduction. DW, I believe, kind of stands for data wrangling. PW stands for pandas wrangling. IP, I don't know. VC, I don't know. I can't remember. So, there's not necessarily a particular one-to-one relationship between lecture material and mini projects. The course order of notebooks is more or less going to be given in the emails that you receive. This week's material effectively is covering the PY Program Flow notebook and the PY Data Structures notebook, as was shown in the email that you should have received. Lots of questions here. Let's see. Is there a guide as to when to use data wrangling and Python? Well, hopefully you can learn when this might be appropriate during the course of watching the videos and our discussions. What happens if someone does not pass the course? Could you repeat it? I believe yes, but don't quote me on that. I'd have to double check. I believe you'd have to repeat. Sorry, I believe you'd have to apply again. Let's see here. Again, the assignments and the notebooks and assignments for this week should be in the email that you should have received. Can the badge given by WorldComp be used for a job application? Yes. I mean, as far as anyone who is offering jobs may be interested in that kind of, badge. Yes, office hours are recorded. Do you need to fill the same application for Unit 2 and pass the same quiz again? You will have to apply for Unit 2. But I don't honestly know what's involved in that application process. No, you will not be automatically enrolled. You have to apply for Unit 2. You will be given a reminder about that. You'll have to apply for Unit 2. You will get a badge on completion of each unit. So assuming you get everything done for Unit 1 by the 18th of June, you will get a badge for Unit 1. If you go into Unit 2 and get everything done by the appropriate deadline in Unit 2, you'll get a badge for Unit 2. As has been pointed out previously, and it says on this page right here, in order to pass the course and get a Credly badge, in order to pass the course, you have to get a score greater than 0 for every question in every mini project. In order to pass the course and get a badge with honors, you have to get an average score of 0.9 or greater across every question in every mini project. You don't have to complete Unit 1 to apply for Unit 2. Right? Towards the end of, as you're, say, getting near the end of Unit 1, right here, you could apply for Unit 2. Right? The you will only be accepted into Unit 2 if you complete Unit 1. But you can apply for Unit 2, near, say, the end of Unit 1. But, you could apply for Unit 2, say, in, late May, early June. So a few questions. Will we know enough of data science after this course to get an internship? Well, again, that could depend upon the internship. I would say yes for some internships and probably no for other internships. Well, no admissions are done for Unit 2 basically until this mini project deadline is passed for Unit 1. Yeah, you could basically apply for Unit 2 now. You can also apply for Unit 2 after a gap of a few months if you want to do so. To Wodros, I've said this at least twice already. These are the pass requirements for this course. Can course credits gotten from each unit be transferred to another school? I don't know. That would be something you would have to ask the other school. Mina, yep, students, you guys can create whatever community you like on Slack, on Discord, on WhatsApp. I'm not going to stop you from doing that. You get a Credly badge upon completion of this course. Let me say something about the mini project. So again, if we go to my server and I go to data course and say Python and mini projects, and I load up IN introduction. So this first cell should run automatically, which is doing some logging and doing some imports. How does the grader work? Tosin, can you share your codes projects on GitHub? We ask that you not share your WorldQuant mini projects on GitHub, so that other people can do the work themselves, and they are copyrighted. So, publicly distributing your solutions to these mini projects would technically violate our copyright. Let me first say a little bit about mini projects. So, how does this work? What do you have to do? Well, you need to run this code cell right here. I'm going to run this code cell to import the grader. This is the grader that will grade your mini projects. As it says here, the objective of this mini project is to teach you about our grading system. And we do this by solving 2 easy problems. What is the grader? What does our grader do? Well, it's a bit of code that we wrote that needs to be imported as above in order to work, right? We've run this import. questions are scored by making a function call of this form. So I said the question name will be different for each question and will be provided for you, right? This portion, this question name is the method. That question name will be provided for you. The form of the answer, right? You're supplying an answer. The form of the answer will vary from question to question. As I said, sometimes you'll submit a fixed value. Other times you might have to write a function and submit a function which will compute something which is based on some hidden input, right? We might give a input to your function and we're seeing is your function computing things correctly. Says your answer will be graded automatically and the score returned to you on a 0 to 1 scale. We suggest sometimes you could do even better than 1. You would have to think about what those questions might be in Unit 1. I don't know off the top of my head any questions on Unit 1 that you can do better than a score of 1. As I said before, we'll count your highest grade so you could try out different solutions. So as an example, in right here has 2 problems. Problem 1 here, it says compute the 5 smallest positive even numbers, provide these in a list. This is what our solution, this is kind of the format of our solutions, what we're looking for. We're looking for a list with 5 numbers in it. Right? This is our so-called dummy solution. I could try this solution, right? My even numbers right here, if I can spell, even numbers is a list with 5 numbers in it. I could submit this to the grader by running this code. I get a score of 0. Well, yeah, because none of these numbers are positive nor even. I could change my code. I'd say, well, let's make my even numbers to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If I submit this again to the grader, oh, well, I get a score of 0.4. Well, this is because only 2 of my 5 possible solutions are positive even numbers. I want the 5 smallest positive even numbers. Well, right. So I want what? I want 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So I could create my new variable here and submit to the grader when I got a grade of 1. If I come back here to the control panel and I look at my grades, now I have a score of 1 that's been recorded for this problem. So again, you know, this will record your highest grade on every problem on the mini projects. This second question, which I'm not going to do right now, but right, what do we want to do? Define a function that accepts a list as input and returns a list where each element is multiplied by 10. So you want to fill in the code for this function. Right? You're going to get, the function is going to get a list as input. And I want to return a list of these numbers where each element has been multiplied by 10. So, we're looking for you to basically modify this function to do that. And so you want to write a function that will work for arbitrary input, because the idea is, well, you're going to give us the name of your function. We're going to run your function on some test cases and see if your function is doing the right thing. So Tosin, yeah, the answer to your question is basically yes, and that's the kind of thing we're going to get to during this course, how to work with pandas. So, right, but this in mini project, as I said, this is designed to introduce you to how our grader works. One, you want to give just a list of the appropriate numbers. This problem right here, you want to write a function which will do some specific task, and we will run your function on some test input. And I'm going to leave this here for the moment so that you all can try this problem out for yourself, right? It's better if you were to try to write this code yourself and possibly get it wrong, but then eventually get it right, rather than, watching me write the function for you. So I've done half of the in mini project. There aren't really kind of open-ended mini projects, in that sense. They're, we basically, ask you to do some more specific things. Is there a limit to the number of times I can submit my solution to the grader? Well, no, except that if you submit too often, too fast, then you will be told, hey, come back a bit later. If I run this and run this again and run this again, right, I've been rate limited for exceeding the limit of 3 submissions per minute. Slow down your submission rate. Well, that just means I'm, as I said, I've submitting, and I might be submitting too often without thinking. So, all right, this is basically saying, slow down and think a bit before you submit again. But, aside from this kind of rate limiting for exceeding the limit of 3 submissions per minute, I believe we have a submission limit on a 24-hour time period. But this is, 50 submissions, 60 submissions? I can't remember. Himmel, no. The only things that you are graded on are the mini project submissions. You can do the exercises in individual notebooks, but the only thing that we are recording grades for are mini project submissions. Basically anything where you have a grader dot score, some method in submitting something, these are the things that we are counting as in your grades. Right, if I wait again and I submit, well, all right, the rate limit says, okay, I'm not exceeding the rate limit, fine. It takes my submission again. Yeah, I think YouTube stops people putting emails in open chat. Once again, for videos, well, office hours videos will be available from this playlist on YouTube. Right, if I were to open this link, this gives me a playlist. There's nothing on this playlist at the moment, well, except for this one that says it's going out live at the moment. But after this office hour is done, well, this office hour will show up on this playlist, and I will be adding a thumbnail right here, which will essentially say, what are the kinds of things that we talked about. So are there other administrative kinds of questions that you all have here? I hope that I've answered most of these. So remember, the only deadline is June the 18th. So yeah, if you go to video links, these videos right here are the videos that you should watch this week. I don't have a complete weekly syllabus available for you guys at the moment. I could probably come up with one, but I don't have it immediately available. So yeah, these videos here are the videos that you should be watching like this week. And these videos for this week essentially cover this PY program flow and this PY data structures notebook. Giannis, unfortunately, no. WorldQuant doesn't really offer additional support in terms of creating a resume or, creating GitHub pages. So I could possibly talk about Git during an office hour at some point. Hopefully, Lynn, the idea is that even if you're new to Python, well, this should, fingers crossed, give you, an introduction to Python, right? That's kind of the point of this course, is to give people an introduction to Python and to give people an introduction to some of the data analysis tools that are available in Python. Teddy, these videos do not disappear. This video list will just get longer. Towards the end of this week, well, more videos will be added to this list, and more videos will be put into the video downloads folder for next week. Usually it's like Friday is when I tend to update this list and update this folder. As I said, your grades are updated automatically based on your submissions that you make. After graduation, Mina, yes, you'll have, you'll have access to your Jupyter pod through, the 18th of June. After the 18th of June, at some point, we will turn off your Jupyter Hub. But before that, well, we'll talk about how you can download these notebooks and save them locally on your own machine. Right? You could all of these notebooks in these folders, you could download these things and save them. The only thing that won't work, if you install Python locally on your machine, all these notebooks will work. The only thing that won't really work on your local machine is the grader functionality of our grader. That's because, you won't have that grader library available on your own laptop. Again, how do you submit mini projects? Well, read the in mini projects, right? Go to data course Python mini projects and in, and that will describe how you are submitting these things. I can talk about this again as the week goes on, to remind you, this is how you are going to submit your mini projects. Yes, in problem 1 and in problem 2 will be part of your final grades. So yes, you must complete the in mini project. All right, so any other administrative kinds of things? As I said, I could probably give you a kind of session on Git during an office hour. I'm not going to be able to give you a session on, I'm not going to be able to give you a good session on how to create or update your resume, because I am not very good at those sorts of things. So again, important dates, Friday, June the 18th. That's when you need to get all the mini project submissions done. If you happen to decide that you need to defer, as in, I'm going to be too busy to complete things, you need to defer by April the 24th and follow the link online if you want to defer. Right, there's a link here. It says you need to defer. You will click on this link here and you go through that deferral process. And remember, as I said, there's a discussion board here for questions. As I said, right, yeah, you guys are looking to form some sort of WhatsApp group or Discord group. Well, great, go for it. I'm not going to monitor such a thing or indeed be part of such a thing. But yeah, if you guys want to form a WhatsApp group or Discord group, well, go for it. All right. Any other administrative kinds of questions here that hopefully. So, as I said, basically, my goal here in these office hours is to answer your questions. You know, I tend to not come into these office hours with a particular agenda in mind. You know, I'll typically be in the office hours by saying, all right, what do you guys want to talk about? How do you download the notebooks? Well, one way you could do this, it should work because the data is small enough, is if I am here on my Jupyter notebook, there's, hopefully you could see that this kind of gets a bit grayed out. There's, on the right, you see the word upload. To the left of the word upload, there's something that looks like a downward pointing arrow. If I were to click on that, this will load up, this will zip up all my files, and then I could download a zip file with all of those files in it. Which, yeah, a window popped up on my screen to download that zip file, but you couldn't see it on my screen. You could download all those files, and then, if you install Python on your machine, like Anaconda or some other way of installing Python on your machine, you could install Python and some appropriate libraries. Yes, I saw the issue about the wrong markdown content. Apologies for that. I don't really have an easy way of fixing that for all of you. I could give you a link. Probably you could more or less change the 2 to 3, and that should get you to the correct documentation. Apologies for having the bad link. Any other questions for me here? As I said, you guys are kind of running the show. You guys are running the show here, more or less. You come in here and you ask questions during office hours, and I will do my best to answer your questions in office hours. But I'm generally going to stick to like the sequence of material, as we go through the course. I don't want to jump 5 weeks into the future. The only criteria for marking the mini projects are correctness. We don't really have a way of checking efficiency of your solutions. Yeah, the best piece of advice I could give, like if you're new to Python or any kind of programming language, is to get your hands on the keyboard and try things out. Will of course help us gain a good introduction to the required data science skills. Well, we certainly hope so. That's certainly what we would we are aiming for, right? We want to give you an introduction The World Quant has 2 units. There's Unit 1, which is this unit, and there's Unit 2, which is about machine learning. And that's all that World Quant is offering right now. The TDI Fellowship, we cover other things which are not covered here. We cover some deep learning, and we cover some Spark, some distributed computing and some deep learning, for example. For the fellowship, we assume you already have a working knowledge of Python, because we jump right in to do Python straight from the beginning. So, all right, I see the office hours time is ended. So, once again, bring your questions tomorrow to office hours. So, I will see you all then. I wish you all a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow at the second office hours. So, thanks for all your questions, and we'll see you then.